Hello guys, welcome to Pritchard's domain. My name is Pearl. Yeah, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Yeah, so I'm tired. I just woke up. Anyways, so I noticed so many people and so many YouTubers, everyone is talking about how to become a nurse. Everyone is talking about how to study for your NCLEX exams, how hard nursing school can be, because it's hard. Trust me, it is hard. But then again, nobody's talking about how newly grads literally are being bullied in the place of work. Nobody's talking about mental health during that process. Like as a newly grad, you walk into a space where you have nurses that have been there for like 15 years, 20 years, like 5 years, Nobody's talking about bullying in the workplace, because it happened to me recently and I'm like, oh wow, I can imagine how a newly grad would handle the situation. And I said, I think I should talk about it. Yeah, so as newly grads, come here, let's talk. You would get bullied. Yeah, by your senior colleagues, you will get bullied. But hey, hold up. You can deal with it, trust me. So, deal with it in a professional manner. So you don't want a situation whereby they call you guys and like, okay, the manager calls and like, oh, what happened? Why did this happen? What led to the outburst, or what, and you are at fault. Sometimes you can be very emotional, you cry and all of that. It's okay. It's okay to cry sometimes. You want to ensure that you are dotting your I's and crossing your T's. So now you want to ensure that you are following the evidence-based practice guidelines. You want to ensure that you're providing safe care for your patients. You want to ensure that you're giving high quality care to your patients. So now, if there's a situation of bullying, you already know that, oh, my patients are safe, so nobody is going to hold you responsible for misconduct or negligence. You have things to say, like, oh, why would you do that? Like, don't talk to me like that. If someone is coming up to you to tell you, oh, you're not supposed to do that for your patient, you know that is safe for your patient, and you know that is my patient. Okay, go deal with your business. I was in that situation, I was in that place, and I actually thought to share, because sometimes a charge nurse can be very domineering, like knowing that, okay, you're the charge nurse for this shift. They want to be so domineering and they are so rude. Some people can be so rude, trust me. Some people can be so rude and you're like, oh my god. There's some of us that can't handle that kind of behavior. So yeah, that brings me to what happened at work. So I had a patient that was in bed for the longest, like he was sleeping for the longest. And I went to the charge nurse and I said, oh, my patient has been sleeping, because I'm an agency nurse, so I don't come every time. I'm like, oh, this patient has been sleeping for the longest and I don't know what's going on. Vital signs, check, everything was checked. Respiratory, okay. Blood pressure was okay. Everything was okay. He was breathing fine and I was cool with it. And then I was at work from 7 to 7. I did a 12-hour shift. And at 12 o'clock, anyways, I kept checking on the patient like every hour, because I had to like check that, oh, he's doing okay, he's breathing fine and everything. And then I remember at 12 o'clock, I went there to check on the patient, because the patient had scheduled meds for 12, 3, and 5, I think, can't remember. And I went there, the patient was still sleeping. And I went to the charge nurse and I'm like, yo, this patient has been sleeping for the longest. And at 2, the patient was still sleeping. Anyways, cut long story short, patient woke up at about, I think at about 4. Now, patient hasn't eaten anything, patient hasn't taken medications, nothing. So anyways, I was concerned about the patient and I kept on talking to the charge nurse. And then the charge nurse goes, oh, yeah, that's how the patient behaves. That the patient sleeps for a long time. And I'm like, okay, you're the charge nurse. You know this patient better than I do, because that is your line. That is your shift, you know? And then I was so concerned, I was so worried and everything that I kept disturbing the charge nurse. Like, what are we going to do? Should we call the doctor? And da 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 da. I noticed that when the patient finally woke up, the nurse came to me and she goes, oh, the patient is finally up. Blah, 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 blah. Now the patient is up. Now the patient is calling. Are you happy now? I'm like, really? So were you expecting this patient to sleep all through the shift? To me, that was rude. Don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that. So I went up to her and I'm like, I don't understand. The fact that this patient is always using the call bell, the patient is always calling, and all of that. That was why you wanted the patient to sleep all through? And prior to that, the patient actually had an overdose of medication. That was why the patient was sleeping for that long. So there was a mistake from another nurse, which was the charge nurse's friend. So that was why she was so I'm telling her, oh, we need to call the doctor. So she was getting upset, like, why do we have to call the doctor? Why do we have to do that? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, that is my patient. You're getting angry because I want to do the right thing. That is my patient. So anyways, to cut the long story short, I went to this nurse and I pushed her and I'm like, please don't talk to me like that. Like, you have a problem? Keep it outside work. You have a problem with me? Keep it outside of work. Don't talk to me like that. I pushed her and I spoke to her nicely in a professional manner. And I went to the manager. And I told her everything that happened. I think the manager comforted her. I can't remember. And yeah, you have to be on your toes. Because I remember there was a time that I cried at every given opportunity, because you just see nurses that are more informed than you, knowing that you're new, you're just fresh out of school, you're a new grad. They want to prey on you. They want to like throw you under the box. They want to see like, you know, they just wanted to make that mistake. And there's some people that just wanted to make a mistake and then they're happy about it. So I was so, knowing that I'm a softie, I was always crying. Sometimes I go home and I'm like, God, am I in the right profession? Like, there were times I asked myself that. And I'm like, God, am I in the right profession? But now I have overcome that stage of my life in nursing. So that's why I'm actually having these conversations with you guys, like telling you guys not to sleep on that. So make sure you're doing the right thing. Make sure you are not held accountable for certain things that are not in your scope of practice. Make sure you're following the evidence-based practice guidelines. Make sure you're doing a safe care for your patients. Make sure your patients are safe, because that is essential. So if all of these are done and still you get bullied one way or the other, nobody has anything to say against you. You know that everything is check. So you want to ensure that you put everybody in their place professionally. So anybody talks to you rudely, tell them, don't talk to me like that. In a professional manner. Don't talk to me like that. You can't talk to me like that. Don't be scared to approach people. Don't be scared to ask questions. As a new grad, make sure you're asking questions. Ask 101 times. Let people get angry, but make sure you are asking questions. You don't know something? Ask. You don't understand something? Ask. Don't sleep on that. You're asking questions. You want to know. You want to make sure you are doing the right thing. You want to make sure your patient is safe. You want to make sure that when a need arises for your patient, you are there to actually do it. You want to make sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's. You want to make sure you're documenting properly. Like, do everything you were taught in school. Don't say, because nursing school, we get taught all of this. And when you come out to the real world, you're seeing something different. And then you're like, oh, okay, this nurse is doing this. Let me do this. Don't. Don't, because literally nurses are watching you. They're like, oh, okay, she just got out of school, so how come she's doing this? They will report you. Some nurses will report you. Although they do the same thing, but they're going to report you. They're going to snitch on you. Nobody is your friend. So you're trying to protect your license, so that when that time of bullying comes and then you're being bullied and you're like, oh, I've been doing my job, I've been doing my work, please don't talk to me like that. In a professional way. In a professional way. You're being bullied, please don't talk to me like that. I've been doing my job, I have done this, A, B, C, D. You've done everything. Okay, guys? As a new grad, stay away from gossip. Honestly, stay away from gossip, stay away from those cliques, because yes, there are cliques in the hospitals. So this section of nurses, or they go out to eat together, this section of nurses, just stay away from all those drama. Trust me, your colleagues are not your friends. So when it's time to throw you under the bus, nobody's looking back. Your colleagues are not your friends. Know that. And also, make sure you're providing a high quality and safe care for your patients. Make sure you are following the evidence-based practice guidelines. So guys, yeah. So that's that. I just thought to share. I woke up this morning and I'm like, oh, I should share this on my YouTube channel. So guys, let me know if you want me to talk about more on nursing school, how I studied for my NCLEX exam, and how I became a nurse. Love you guys. Bye. And have a blessed day.